Good evening and welcome to the eNCA Money Desk. I'm Heidi Jokos. Now, persistently high interest rates, inflation and salaries are not keeping up, and they continue to erode consumers' disposable income. That's the word from Debt Busters in their Q1 2024 Debt Index. Let's bring in Executive Head Benai Sager for more insights. Thank you so much for your time this evening. We do appreciate it. And it's almost as though we keep repeating the same trends with every index. When can we expect a pickup of sorts?
Thank you, Heidi, for having me on the show. You are correct in the sense that we have been highlighting for the last few years that the situation for the South African consumer has been very difficult. And the reasons are the same. It's high inflation, high interest rates, particularly over the last 12, 15 months or so. Having said that, I think we do expect some relief when interest rates start going down, and that will be also a reflection of inflation going down. We don't yet know when that's going to happen. I think depending on who you ask, it could be towards the end of the year, but certainly in 2025, we're expecting a little less debt in terms of overall debt levels, which we've already seen, by the way. Compared this quarter compared to the same period a year ago, the average debt levels have come down for the broader application population, which we think is a good sign.
Well, fingers crossed that will happen, hopefully sooner rather than later. What we're also seeing is high income earners are now also feeling the pinch. What types of credits are they resorting to?
Yeah, this is something that has been brewing for the last 4 years, essentially since the pandemic has started. What has happened in South Africa is that higher income earners have become more attractive in terms of lending. And as lending has tightened, there have been fewer loans to go around, and they found their way to the smaller number of individuals compared to the previous years. And that happened to be generally higher income earners. And as a result, what you have is, if you look at our application base, about 95% of the people who applied to debt counseling in Q1 2024 came to us with a personal loan. And generally, these are large personal loans in excess of 80,000 Rand or so. But an additional 25% came to us with what we call short-term loans. And that is up from 22% the previous quarter, which indicates to us the short-term acute financial pinch that the consumers are feeling, particularly high income earners, has not really gone away. So those are some of the things that we found. The higher earning consumers are definitely under more pressure than many other consumers.
Let's speak about the fact that there has there has rather been an improvement in debt levels, obviously not where we want it to be, and it could be either because consumers are more conscious now, or could it also be because all debt avenues have been exhausted at this point?
Yeah, that's an interesting question, and the answer is probably somewhere in the middle. But one has to remember that this is the average for the entire range of people who've applied, from the lowest to highest income. So what we believe has happened is, for many of the middle to lower income earners, lending has essentially not stopped but really slowed down to them, starting all the way back from 2017 and 2018, all the way through the pandemic and up until now. Even though interest rates are high, the lending activity to that group is not as high as it used to be before, compared to, let's say, pre-2016 levels. On the other hand, for higher income earners, we've seen that their debt levels have increased. But overall, when we look at it, because we're taking the median debt levels for the entire population who apply to us, we certainly see the decrease, as you said. 1 year ago, the debt to income level was about 120%. Now it's down to 107%, and last quarter it was 106%. So we certainly welcome this. I think that's great news, and we're hoping that it's going to be sustainable at that level.
Absolutely. And then maybe just lastly, for some insights, Benai, if you can, what other trends are you picking up in 2024?
Yeah, we've certainly seen a few interesting things. Firstly, we talk about the higher income earners continuing to be under a lot of financial strain. What we've also seen is that even though we don't currently have it load shedding, and as you can see even behind me, I have my trustworthy inverter to help if something goes out. Certainly consumers have felt the pinch in Q1 2024. With more money going towards energy saving and investment solutions. The other thing we picked up is that, the age of the consumers applying to debt counseling. A few years ago, about 90% of the applicants would have been 45 or older. Now that's significantly up. That's more 31%. And that's showing to us that consumers are serious about dealing with their debt before going into retirement. And perhaps the last thing we picked up is about the interest rates. A few years ago, we talk about the bonds being really low, 8.3% for your average bond, which is generally around 1.4, 1.5 million rand in South Africa. And right now, the average interest rate for that bond is 12.3%. And the difference between the two is for the consumer to find extra 4,000 rand per month. So we're certainly picking up that elevated interest rates, particularly for bonds and unsecured lending, continue to be probably the highest in the last 4 years.
Okay, very interesting. I think also you just reminded me about my inverter. I looked at it last night and I realized that it's gotten a lot of dust and it has a pot plant on it because we haven't used it in over 40 days. Thank you so much for your time. That was the executive head at Debtbusters, eNCA. And now still to come on South Africa Tonight, Springbok woman must deliver another